And just weeks before her death, Virginia Giuffre recorded something that was never supposed to get out. One name kept coming up, a name protected by Hollywood, protected by the media, protected by everyone who had something to lose. So why did Ellen flee the country the moment the Epstein files were announced? Why did her right-hand man take his own life and leave behind a note exposing everything? Mel Gibson has been warning us about this for years, and now he's finally reacting. But here's what nobody is connecting.
The story begins in the shadowed corners of Hollywood, where the glitz and glamour conceal an underworld that few dare to talk about. Virginia Guay, a young woman from the UK, came forward in the early 2000s with allegations that would shake the foundations of power. Allegations that linked some of the world's most influential figures to one of the most infamous trafficking operations ever exposed: Jeffrey Epstein's network. Virginia was only 14 when she was allegedly recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell to Epstein's Island, a place where exploitation wasn't hidden, it was orchestrated with precision. According to her accounts, this wasn't just the work of one man, it was a system, a network of recruiters, doctors, therapists, hairstylists, drivers, and aides, all maintaining the machinery of exploitation. The more Virginia tried to expose it, the higher the stakes became, culminating in a final voicemail that may have sealed her fate.
A lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on, hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on and on. Drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids.
A network, not one man. A system.
By the time Virginia spoke out, she had accumulated an overwhelming amount of evidence, photographs, names, and accounts that implicated not just Epstein and Maxwell, but a host of powerful figures in politics, business, and entertainment. She believed the justice system would act. She believed the truth would prevail. But in 2019, weeks before the official release of the Epstein files, Virginia publicly warned the world that her life was at risk.
I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me for the sake of my family, do not let this go away.
Not long after this warning, Virginia was involved in a suspicious accident hit by a truck, and though she survived, the threat was clear. Shortly thereafter, she was found dead under circumstances that have never been fully explained. Her voicemail, however, survived, allegedly containing names that could bring down some of the most untouchable figures in Hollywood. One name reportedly appeared prominently: Ellen DeGeneres. Known for her public persona of kindness and humor, Ellen's alleged connection to Virginia's final testimony raises serious questions about what was really happening behind the scenes. Ellen's sudden departure from the United States shortly after the Epstein files were announced, the change in her appearance, and the sale of her Montecito mansion all suggest a hasty retreat from scrutiny.
Which daytime television host suddenly fled the United States just weeks after the Epstein files were announced for release? Which talk show host changed her entire appearance, going from blonde to brunette for the first time in decades? Which Hollywood personality put her mansion on the market and moved to rural England, telling friends she was never coming back?
The Epstein network wasn't limited to private islands or political circles. Survivors' testimonies connect it directly to Hollywood. Virginia's voicemail allegedly included names of producers, agents, and executives who facilitated the trafficking of young talent under the guise of legitimate opportunities. One person closest to Ellen, her executive producer, Stephen Twitch Boss, was reportedly privy to these dark truths. Twitch's death in December 2022, officially ruled as suicide, has fueled speculation due to the note he left behind. Sources claim it wasn't merely about personal struggles, it allegedly detailed what he witnessed within Ellen's inner circle. Some believe this note could hold the key to what Virginia feared would remain hidden forever. Ellen's abrupt exit, coupled with her closest associate's death, paints a picture of a network operating under fear, influence, and secrecy. It raises urgent questions. Why leave the country? Why change your identity and home base? And, most critically, what was in Virginia's voicemail that has the FBI allegedly issuing arrest warrants today? Long before the public caught wind of these connections, Mel Gibson had been speaking about Hollywood's corruption and dark rituals, claims many dismissed as conspiracy theories. According to sources, Gibson warned privately that the network's protective system ensured silence at all costs. He reportedly suggested that once the Epstein files went public, figures in the entertainment industry would scramble to hide evidence or distance themselves. The timing of Ellen's departure seems to validate those warnings. Hollywood's elite has long relied on public facades to mask private transgressions. The sudden exodus of a beloved talk show host, coupled with unusual media silence, is more than coincidence.
But everything Mel Gibson said is now being proven true. Ellen's sudden departure from the U.S. wasn't about politics. It wasn't about Donald Trump winning the election. It was about the Epstein files.
Epstein's obsession with genetic medicine, stem cells, and young specimens was reportedly discussed openly among high-profile elites. Peter Nygard, a convicted fashion mogul, bragged about harvesting eggs from young women, and it's reported that Epstein financed experiments at top research institutions. The chilling reality is that discussions of exploitation were not whispered, they were joked about on national television, in plain sight. Virginia and other survivors connected these dots, linking the operations to familiar names in Hollywood. From set designs mimicking alleged temple layouts on Epstein's island to offhand comments on talk shows, evidence suggests a normalization of secrecy and complicity.
Fans noticed that the set of Ellen's show bore a strange resemblance to the temple on Epstein's island. The same striped pattern, the same colors, the same design. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe it was hiding in plain sight the whole time.
Marina Lacera and other survivors have come forward, describing systematic exploitation starting as young as 14, relentless and methodical. Each account reveals a horrifying pattern, a network that recruits, grooms, and discards victims once they are deemed no longer useful. Epstein, Maxwell, and alleged associates did not operate in isolation. From private jets to high-ranking officials, this was a coordinated, protected operation, hidden under the guise of influence, fame, and charity.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being trafficked.
Now, according to the latest reports circulating online and among insiders, the FBI has issued arrest warrants connected to Virginia's final voicemail. Ellen DeGeneres' name is allegedly implicated, linking her to testimonies that were previously undisclosed. If these warrants are executed, the entertainment industry could face unprecedented exposure. The implications are enormous. Public figures, long considered untouchable, may finally be held accountable for actions hidden behind closed doors for decades. This is more than scandal. This is a reckoning. Hollywood's polished image is colliding with evidence of real-world exploitation, and Virginia's voice, the last thing she recorded, may have been the catalyst that tipped the balance.
Virginia Giuffre's final voicemail may never be officially released, but the message she left behind is loud and clear. They're not done. They're still out there, and they will do anything to stay protected.
So, what do you think? Is this a series of tragic coincidences, or is there a deliberate cover-up, one that has silenced witnesses, intimidated insiders, and forced public figures into hiding? The story is far from over, and with the FBI allegedly stepping in, the next chapter may finally reveal what Virginia, Twitch, and countless others could not. The question now is simple. Who will face justice, and how deep does this network go? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what comes next could change everything you thought you knew about Hollywood.